Good afternoon and welcome to our post-game women's volleyball press conference. We will start the press conference with an opening statement from head coach Tyler Hildebrand, and then we'll open it up to questions for the media.
Thanks, Lindy. It was we were proud of the crowd tonight. It's hard to come off of a big promotion like Texas and then get everybody to come back on a Sunday afternoon. So having almost 1,200 was great. So we want to say thanks to our fans. We'll say great match by LMU. I think Texas played quite a bit better against us than they did against LMU. And LMU played a lot better against us than they did against Texas. And we played a lot better against, so it's kind of one of those. That's why we went 1-1. But congrats to LMU. They have a great coaching staff. They're friends of ours, and they do a really nice job. So happy for them, and they're going to be a good team. So, it's hard to put everything together every match. It's not, there's no magic science to it. And we start out the match really strong, and we got tested a little bit in the middle of the first set, and then there's a battle, and then we weren't really able to execute how we wanted in the second, third set. We got down early in both those sets, and just the pressure of trying to come back, pass the ball. We didn't pass as well as we need to pass. But primarily, we're proud of our team for the weekend. We're proud of our team for all the work they did in the summer, all the work they've done in preseason. To come out this weekend 1-1, we wanted to go 2-0, but we want to look at this thing as the whole season, and we're going to get tested the next. The whole season, but for sure the next 5 weeks we're going to get tested anyway. So we're trying to learn from our wins and learn from our losses. So we're going to try to learn from this loss like we tried to learn from the win.
Tyler Hendrickson with the 562.org. Coach, you mentioned it. You guys got off to a really good start in that first set, but then just seemed like you couldn't find the offensive rhythm kind of for any sustained periods tonight. I know you try to mix in a couple different hitters, and what did you feel like was off that you weren't able to kind of get consistent momentum going and stay in system?
Yeah, we had a couple people, namely Dustin Watton, who's one of the best minds in the game, I think, and happens to be a 49er alumni as well. But he said about the match on Friday that our shot selection and choices and creativity, hitting when it was open, moving the ball around, was like watching a Champions League match, which is it's like Premier League in soccer for volleyball, and we did not do that tonight. We're gonna look back and see how many times did we create versus just kind of swing. Per set against Texas versus per set against LMU, and that gap's going to be probably a little alarming with how different it was. And so I think that hurt us. And, LMU, I think, is actually, maybe as good or better of a blocking team than Texas in terms of great touches and great moves. And so we didn't do a great job of getting them off balance. A lot of our balls got touched. And to be honest, their libero, made so many plays in the first set. She was the difference maker on the whole court in the first set. And, it was really hard to get the ball down on her all night. So she was really good, and we made some good swings at her. And generally, our offense doesn't work unless we're aggressive, going fast, and creating. And so, our offense wasn't what it needs to be tonight. So we're going to try to learn from it.
You got Katie Kennedy involved more than you did on Friday night. She had 9 kills leading the team. What can you say about Katie and the offense altogether tonight?
Katie's a stud. I said all the time, she's one of the best people I've met. She's one of our leaders. She's going to be great at anything she does in life, and everybody loves her, and she's a rock for us. And she's had a really nice preseason and 2 really good matchups. She played really well against Texas, too. But she had the most attempts tonight. Which shows you that, we weren't firing on all cylinders. That's something Zayna's great at. I answered this on Friday, but, I don't tell Zayna, who to set, where to set, what to do throughout the match. And so the fact that Katie had more total attempts than anyone on the team, I believe, right? Yeah, 19. And she was also, by far our highest hitting percentage, that means Zayna's got a feel for that and how to go to her. And so Katie was good, and but we were just also to answer your question, general on offense, we were a couple hitters away. And so far against Pepperdine and Texas, the subs that we've made have really kind of gone off and really, really picked up. And I think I said it a couple of times. I mean, that's not going to happen every time. You can't just bank on that. Like, we got to do a little better on offense. Like, whoever we put in is going to play great. So the girls were fighting tonight. We were right there a couple of times. We're making some runs, and it's hard to we just showed that we got to work on stuff and get better at it so we can trust it when we're under stress. And LMU did a great job putting us under stress. Jumping out to leads in the second and third was tough to come back from.
How much of those subs were passing based, because it seemed like LMU were just firing away serves?
Yeah.
You guys had a tough time passing. 5 service aces, not like that's a telltale sign, but.
Yeah, our first thing passing is to try not to get aced. And you usually don't want to have a don't do something cue. You want to be talking about what you want to do. But for us, the don't get aced, there's a fight in that. So when you're about to get eaten up, like, fight against it. So we're okay with, sports psychologists will disagree with me, but most of our stuff is like what you want to do. But in that one, we want a little fight. So getting ace 5 times, that's something that we're not gonna get aced a lot, more than our opponent. I don't think too much this year. I hope, I think it's something we're really good at. But we passed a 3-4. They passed a 2-3-4, and they passed a 2-3-7. So the passing game was null. But for us, passing a 2-3-4, for us to hit a higher number, we're gonna want to be, passing in that 2-5, 2-6 range where we were the other night. So the subs were trying to get a little bit of a lift. Elise has come in and done nothing but great things. And Abby put okay in the first set, but she was hitting, negative. So we were like, hey, let's see if we can get a lift. And then, Natalie was hanging in there and doing a good job, but Mo's brought us a lift. And so when things, when you're trying to find something and you're hitting, under 100 for the match, that's what the subs were for. And, unfortunately, Nicole, who played good, that kind of pulled her out because we wanted at least to help us on the BIC maybe. And so, yeah, we at the end of the day, we got to learn and play a little better. And certainly our offense needs to play better.
This is Samuel from the Daily 49er. What were some of the takeaways you had from the LMU game versus Texas? And then how will you adjust from the next game against Indiana?
Well, we've talked about that a lot, but we hit 064. I guess you got to talk about it. We need to be ourselves on offense, which is we don't have a bunch of 6'7" girls that are going to go tee off. So when we're playing our best is when we're playing offense, which is speed, short distance speed, setting quicks on different routes. And when you do that, you're not going to have great swings all the time. You're going to have blocks there sometimes, so you got to create. So we need to really focus on that and learn from that. That's who we are on offense. Defensively, if we were excellent against Texas, which is a really physical team. Floor defense, I'm talking about. We were probably below average tonight. So there was plays when you're down and you're down and you're down and you're fighting, and every time we get a chance, we just barely miss or whatever. It's hard to let that go and give everything you got on the next point for some floor defense, like off blockers coming under tips. So we're going to try to identify all of that and say, hey, sometimes the first thing that goes when you're getting stressed or you're losing and not everything's going right is your effort and your attention to those little plays. So Friday we watched a lot of the match together. And I was like, man, look at all these little plays we made, just little heads-up plays and taking care of the ball. We had a number of balls that were touched off the block or easy plays that we kind of were late to and then passed over the net or didn't control. So that was kind of the vice versa of those two matches. And that's not a training thing. That's just, hey, it's when you got 3,600 people here and you're up and beating the number 1 team in the country, it's easy to kind of let all that roll. And when you're struggling and trying to find it, which our girls fought hard and they tried, it is harder to make those little plays. So that's what we got to learn is we got to stick to focusing on those little plays even when we're down, because that would have switched the game tonight, even though we weren't hitting great.
And Coach, how do you find the balance of not getting too high on the Texas win, but not getting too low off the LMU loss?
Our team did a great job of not getting too high off the Texas game. Certainly that night, and after, like we talked about, we found out that was the first time Long Beach State's been the number one team in the country since September 1st of 2001, so 22 years, largest crowd in 20 years, and the largest student crowd in the history of the program. So we were certainly enjoying that because you have to do that when you do something first time in multiple things in the first time in 2 decades. So we were high there, and right away on Saturday, everyone was ready to go and focus. And everyone after the match was like, hey, after LMU's match on Saturday, LMU is a very good team, so there was no overlooking. So we weren't too high after Texas. You can get back to me maybe on Thursday if we got too low after this one. But our goal is to, we've said it over and over, but we have a tough preseason. We're going to get tested. We're going to win matches. We're going to lose matches. We're going to learn from them and grow. So when you try to learn from your wins like we did against Texas, and then you play a really good team at LMU, we're going to learn from our loss. So you don't have the emotion of high-low because you're trying to learn. So we're going to try to figure out where we need to be better and let it motivate us, because it's going to motivate us. I mean, it's not that we lost to LMU. I mean, LMU is a very good team, and LMU got 10 or 12 votes to be in the top 25, and they made the tournament a lot. So we know how good they are, so it's not about the win or the loss. It's about how we played. We didn't play with the same competitiveness and trust and belief and confidence. So it'll motivate us to do that.
Well, I'd like to kind of build on, a little bit of the historical significance. I mean, it's a long season. They're going to look back on this weekend, and I think a lot more fans are going to remember Friday than today, obviously, and I hope you do too. But kind of touch a little bit on that historical significance, and for you being early in your tenure here, and that's a landmark win and one that the fan base has been craving for a while. What do you hope that does for not just this team but this program to have a marquee win and performance like that?
Yeah, it was a hard choice to come from Nebraska. I love working for Coach Cook. I love that place. I love that gym. I love that program. I love everyone I worked with there, and certainly love the young women. And it was a really hard choice to come here. But I've said it a million times, but my first exposure to real kind of like volleyball, because I'm from Arizona, I played for like a year, and there's no more than 100 people in stands, was Brian's team in 2002. They were ranked second or third, and it was full. So I knew what that was like, and that was the first time in a long time that this gym has been like that. So it meant a lot to me personally that the fans came out and then we performed for them. And so, we didn't say this to the girls because we had work to do this weekend, but I will at some point say that you're going to have to always remember that, because we've said to them for a long time, we have a duty to this program, to the wonderful alumni and women that came here before us, and the coaching staffs, Dixie and Brian and Debbie, and I'm going to leave everybody out, but Joy and Matt. I mean, we have a duty, to try to bring it back and to try to get people excited again. So it means everything for us. That's our number one goal. And so someday, and they need to learn a life lesson in that you can achieve big things if you stay together, care about each other, handle adversity well, don't let stress overcome you, and work your butt off in the summer and have player-led leadership and player-led autonomy. And to get that success in that environment after 20 years is something that they need to take into their life, that those kind of things are possible. And just like that, in some ways, that's why this loss is, to have those two things, we don't play our game, we versus playing our game. It's a great lesson in life too, that like life is fleeting, things, you got to keep working at it and grinding, and you're going to be on a high, and then you're going to have to battle, and you're going to have to look deep and come up with some leadership. So this weekend, our program is about life lessons and being better people. So this weekend was a great way for us to learn from both.
Last question for me. What were some of the positive things that you took out of this game? I saw you talking to some of the players about calming down, whatever the case may be. What were some of the positive things that you saw from that game?
Kitty played great. I think that we blocked well again. You know, we're not going to be a team that blocks 15, 20 balls in too many matches. I mean, maybe we will. Of course, we're capable of it. But, we're a team that gets in here. I mean, I have a, Bill Russell quote, the idea is not to block every shot. The idea is to make your opponent believe you might block every shot. So we let them read and we let them touch balls, and we try to frustrate hitters. And so I think we blocked well again. And, Bjorn is our blocking coach, and he's doing a great job with that. I think, we learned that we can beat any team in the country, and if we don't play our game, it's not like we can lose any team in the country because LMU is a really good team. It's like if we don't play our game, this is the result. Hit an 064. I don't know if we hit 064 last year, and we're a much better offensive team than we were last year. So it's not just offense, it's defense, all that. So we're going to have to put it all together. So we learned how fragile it can be if you don't put everything into it in every area of the game. I think part of us getting down really bled into our defense being kind of, like I said earlier, kind of hesitative and maybe even our hitting hesitative because we were down. And so we're going to learn that it takes everything running on all cylinders for us to win. And when we do, we learned we can beat any team in the country. So.
There was a point where you called 2 very early timeouts. How did that kind of play in? What did you think of that decision later on, maybe in the match, just calling a couple of early timeouts in that situation?
Well, I called an early one in the second set, and I called an early one in the third set. The one in the second set is, we lost a close one. We didn't play our best in the first set. And we wanted a response, and I think it was 5-1 when we got down. If you're down 1-0 and you're down 5-1 in the second, that's a normal time, I think, to call a timeout. I mean, you have to try to stop the bleeding at that point. And then, we had to call a second one. I think we were down by 6 or 7 points in the middle of that set. So, so, and unfortunately, we didn't really make up much ground after that. So there was no need to call one later when we were down by 8 points, 25-17. So didn't burn us in the second set. And the third set, I think, was pretty much exactly the same. I think we were down 6-2 maybe at that timeout, whatever it was. And I think that was a couple side outs in a row. And when you're down 2-0 and you're down 6-2, you gotta try to let them calm down and get them going. We're not in there yelling at them. We're not in there, motivational speeching, but, if you're 6-2 and you don't call a timeout and then it's 9-3 and you're down 2-0, well, then you might be down too many to catch up. So, we wouldn't call an early timeout very often, I don't think, unless you're down by quite a bit. Certainly wouldn't call that in the first set, maybe it would have been harder, Matt, if we called, let's say in the third set, we called those twos and it was, 24-22 us, we gave up 2, but we never really caught up, so it didn't hurt us. But when you're down 1-0 or 2-0, you're just trying to make sure that it doesn't get, you keep doing what you can to stay in it. And so I guess that's why we called, I think, one early and one in the middle of both those sets. I forgot I called one of them early. I'm like, do I have a timeout? They're like, no. I'm like, So.
All right. Thank you, Coach.
All right. Thank you, guys. Thanks for being here.